St. Paul Civic Center, Bart Connor and Kathy Johnson. The first two rotations are over, and in the first rotation, there were some major problems. One of our overwhelming favorites, Brandy Johnson, had some trouble on the balance beam.
And the entire routine looked as if Brandy was back in style. Everything was very aggressive, confident and sure. But then came the dismount, and her foot slipped off the side as she was trying to do a double back dismount and a major fall. But she still scored a 9.4 with that 5/10 of a point deduction.
It's lucky that she wasn't injured. She rebounded on floor exercise with a 9.85.
She did a terrific first pass, alternate through to a full twisting double back, and she was back on track with this routine, scoring a 9.85.
One of our other surprises in the first rotation, Larissa Fontaine, with this uneven bar routine, scored a 9.8.
And this was a super routine, showing a lot of originality, a lot of difficulty, and showing that the juniors are right on the heels of our seniors. Major dismount here, a half in, half out. It's a full twisting double back dismount. Great routine.
So the 12-year-old from Wheeling, Illinois, scored a 9.8 with that effort on the uneven bar. She took the lead over Brandy Johnson. Fuller Friends third, Heidi Hornbeek and Molly Shawen tied for fourth place. Now, as we mentioned at the top of the show, this has been a tough year for Brandy
this microphone
Johnson.
is operating,
in fact,
right?
she even considered giving up the sport at one time. Let's take a look at Brandy Johnson.
Go on now. Turn over. Like that. Right on up. That's a nice one.
At the beginning of this year, I had a lot of obstacles to overcome. I had a lot of injuries and illnesses, and I'd been in the sport for, 13 years, and I just, didn't know when the stopping point was going to be. So I took some time off just to reevaluate everything. I didn't know if I was going to quit or stay in it or not, so I just took some time off, and I really missed it.
That's it. Up on that board now. Big reach. Okay, that's good. The way I would describe Brandy's getting out of the sport for, I guess, a full 10 days really is just like you and I on a daily basis. We go to work and we put in our hours and we're going, and as weeks go by and months go by, eventually we say, we need a short vacation. We need a short break to get away from it and come back. And so it's only common that the body and the mind needs to know what it's like to be away from something and then come back with a fresh look and go from there. So I think it's a big plus for Brandy, and it's got her better focus now.
Well, right now I'm real excited about the sport. I have a lot of meets coming up, so that really keeps you going. It's really hard when you just train and you don't have any competitions and you don't really know why you keep going into the gym just to work out. But when you have something to shoot for, then it makes it that much better. I live in Orlando, Florida, and as you know, there are a lot of attractions and stuff like that, and Universal has just opened, and my boyfriend works there as a stunt boat driver, so we go there all the time and try to visit him and see all the new attractions. I get a little embarrassed sometimes when people ask me for my autograph, but I have fun too. I know it's honoring for me to have them recognize me. After workout, sometimes Mr. Brown, he has a lake house, and he invites all the girls out to the lake house, and we usually go skiing and jet skiing and just have a lot of fun. Doing other things outside of the gym makes the team that much closer, and when we go to a competition, we can really tell, and especially having closeness with your coach is important. Gymnastics does take a lot of your time, but since I'm here with my family and I've got a boyfriend and everything, so I'm not missing out on a lot.
It seems as if Brandy has everything going for her now, and more important than anything, a renewed excitement for her sport.
Well, Kathy, more gymnastics to come here at the U.S. Olympic Festival. It's the women's all-around competition, and we'll be back for the third of 4 rotations right after these messages.
I'm not an athlete.
Back at the St. Paul Civic Center, we're currently in the middle of rotation number 3 of 4 rotations in the women's gymnastics competition. It's the all-around and team competition. After 2 rotations, you can see that one of our young favorites, Larissa Fontaine, has a lead over Brandy Johnson. Fuller Friends is 3rd. Heidi Hornbeek and Molly Schoen are tied for 4th place. Kathy, of course, Brandy had trouble in the balance beam, but it only dropped her to 2nd in the all-around after a terrific performance on the floor exercise. This young lady is Larissa Fontaine.
And she has really been tough so far in the competition, particularly on the uneven bars. That was so exciting.
She's only 12 years old. She's 4 feet 4 and 67 pounds, Kathy. This is the body style of a world-class gymnast.
Performing on the balance beam. This is probably, of all the events, her weakest event. She really needs to work on cleaning up the form, working on the details of gymnastics.
She's coached by Leonard Isaacs at the American Academy of Gymnastics in Wheeling, Illinois.
She already, at the age of 12, has plenty of difficulty at this point in all her routines. Opens with the round off layout, step out, up to the balance beam.
A little shaky there.
And walk over right into a seesaw, fulfilling some of the requirements, combining the dance and the acrobatic elements. This is her most difficult pass on the balance beam. Round off back handspring, layout, step out. Nails it solid. As you can see, her legs just aren't locked out tight and toes aren't really pointed. These are the things that'll come as she progresses in gymnastics. Press handstand to an almost plunge.
As you mentioned, Kathy, she does not yet have the polish of some of the older gymnasts, but she has a terrific amount of potential and a high level of difficulty in all of her routines.
Absolutely. And she competes very well. It's really important. That's something that is just inside a gymnast. The ability to go out there and lay it on the line and hit it when it counts.
Imagine what's going through her mind right now. She's currently in the lead over one of her idols, Brandy Johnson.
Round off back handspring, double back. One step on the landing, but a terrific routine. As you can see, as I said, she has plenty of difficulty. The double back dismount, the pass at the beginning of the routine, round off back handspring, step out into a layout step out. Just needs to work on the form on that pass. And the dismount, also a combination pass, round up back handspring, tuck double back. Of course, a pretty big step on the landing. That will be a deduction. But she's excited about that one.
Yeah, she certainly has to be happy to get by the balance beam. That's the nerve-wracker, Kathy.
Certainly is. I've been up there a few times.
Now we're going to go over to the vault competition. Brandy Johnson, currently 2nd in the all-around, is getting ready for vault. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, Brandy got a silver medal in the recent World Championships on the vault.
She is probably one of the top 3 vaulters in the world at this point.
9.725 was the score for Larissa Fontaine over on the balance beam.
What's really impressive about Brandy's vaulting is in the rules, in the finals, you have to do 2 different vaults, and she has 2 terrific vaults. In this competition, you only have to do 1 vault. Well, you do 2 vaults, but it can be repeated. You can do the same vault again. Oh, and that's a vault.
What happens now, Kathy?
Well, she's allowed to start over. She didn't even come down and approach the horse. It's odd to see her do that. And a layout full twist. Step on the landing. That's what she's going to try not to do on her second vault. That's called a Yurchenko layout with a full twist. It's a round-off entry vault. One of the more popular vaults now. And it's scored from a 10.0.
And boy, is she powerful.
Absolutely, Bart. Perfect takeoff position here. Good push off the horse. And as always with Brandy, a nice position in the air. She wants to do that, though, and stick the landing.
What's going through her mind right now? She comes here to the Olympic Festival as the overwhelming favorite. She has a disastrous fall on the balance beam, and then she comes back in floor exercise. It's maybe a little bit of a tough day for her. She realizes she's going to really have to dig in if she's going to pull out a win here. Well,
watching her in workouts, she is really aggressive again, like I've never seen her in this past year. So I think she'll be fine. There you go. That's the one you want. That's the Brandy that we saw all during 1989, leading up, of course, to a silver medal at the World Championship. And she actually looked like that on balance beam, too. It was just a very fluke fall. This was absolutely beautiful. She got a 9.85 on her first vault. This one, obviously, a little bit better. It was even better off the horse right there. Good push. Opens up the arms for a flare. And, of course, stuck the landing. 9.95. Like I said, I mean, Brandy looks so wonderful here at this competition. That fall is not going to faze her. So Brandy Johnson having a strong performance there in the vault. We go over now to Elizabeth Crandall. And Elizabeth dropped to 14th during the last rotation because of an unfortunate fall on the balance beam. Liz trains at the Desert Devils with Stormy Eaton in Tempe, Arizona. Full twisting double back. Oh! Oh. I guess she's all right. It looked as though she grabbed her knee. I thought it was hurt. A lot of torque on that knee in the landing. That was a full twisting double back, and it looked like she was just a little shorter rotation, as well as didn't quite complete the twist. 1.5 twist through to a double twist. It's really too bad. She looked great in warm-ups. Obviously, she checked her knee to see if it was okay, and she seems to have gotten it back together. And although she seems a little tentative, Kathy, she obviously is holding it all together here. Last a double back. Whoa, dang. Wow. I'm actually surprised she went for that double back at the end of that routine, knowing that she's in a great deal of pain. Yeah, I am too. I'm surprised she didn't opt to possibly do a double full, but maybe she thought it was all right. Kathy, let's see if we can see what happens here. This is a full twisting double back. She has decent lift off the floor. She really pulled in too soon into that second somersault. Wow. I'm telling you, I really think she torqued that knee. And I'm not sure if she ran out of gas or was a little unsure of her knee. It's so hard to say what's going through her mind right now, but she did not have a good takeoff into the double back. There was no way she was going to make that. I think she probably should have opted for a safer double twist dismount. Liz Crandall in a great deal of pain. Hopefully we'll have a report on her knee. Hopefully there's no major damage. That's the end of the third rotation. We'll be back for the fourth and final rotation.
For the call is Bart Connor.
Back here at the St. Paul Civic Center, the women's gymnastics competition. It's the team and the all-around, and we're focusing on the all-around competition. Brandy Johnson has taken the lead with that fine performance in the third rotation over Larissa Fontaine. Molly Schoen and Wojnarowski, Tracy Cole, and Hillary Anderson are tied for fifth. We're getting ready now for Tracy Cole from Norman, Oklahoma, trains with Steve Nuno and Peggy Liddick up in Oklahoma City at the Dynamo's gym. She's only .325 out of third. So she does have an opportunity to possibly move into medal contention here, but that's still a pretty substantial move to make. Tracy Cole getting ready to vault, and she'll be using the familiar Yurchenko style of vaulting, Kathy. It's a round-off entry vault, and a layout somersault, little hop on the landing. She actually scored pretty well in this event at the USA Championships. Let's talk a little bit about that. The vault was very clean, but of course it wasn't the most difficult vault being done. It didn't have the same dynamics as some of the other gymnasts have on this vault. Not as much lift up off the horse, but it was a nice clean vault.
Just looking to try and get a little bit more speed into the horse, a little more height and distance on the afterflight. Waiting for her score of her first vault. It's a 9.25 for the first vault. Looking to better that here. And with a full twist. Adds the twist in tucked position. It's not quite as hard as a laid out position, but it's much harder than her first vault. She's a little off center on the mat. That will be a slight deduction.
Nicely done for Tracy Cole, who, by the way, is also a member of the Honor Society and German Club at her school. She carries a 4.0 grade point average.
You see here, a little bit better lift on this vault, but of course off center she has to step even more off center.
Let's see if we can see what happened on this.
As I said, a little bit better push than before. She tucks in a little bit too soon. She scored a 9.4 on that vault, a little bit better than the first one.
So keep in mind that it's the team and the all-around competition. There are 4 teams competing and 24 young ladies from both the senior and the junior national teams. There's Bill Roth, second place in the all-around in the men's competition a couple of days ago. We're getting ready now to go over to the balance beam. This is Ann Wojnarowski. And Kathy, you said at the top of the show that she has really impressed you here.
Yeah, very much so, particularly on vault. She scored a 9.9 over the vault. Very, very powerful, reminiscent of Mary Lou Retton. A lot of power in those legs.
Once again, another one of our mini mites. She's only 13 years old. She's 4 feet 6 and 72 pounds.
Tied for 6th in the all-around at the 1990 USA Championships. She trains at North Star Gymnastics, and her coach is Tony Gaiman. And as we've said before, this is a very nerve-wracking event. All the events in gymnastics.
She obviously had to wait a long time to get the nod from the judges. That makes it particularly difficult.
Jumps right to a press handstand mount.
There's an original variation to that flange position.
Certainly is, and I'm trying to figure out what she has on her ankle. I think it's just colored tape.
And perhaps a heel cup.
A handspring to a layout pike. Slight balance break at the end. Just like Larissa, she really needs to work on the finer details. Perfecting each movement. A little more extension.
And currently 4th place in the all-around, just about 3/10 of the point out of a medal position.
Gainer layout step out. Showed nice form on that move. The rhythm of the routine is a little bit slow. Really needs to pick it up a little. Whoa. Punch front.
She does seem a little bit tentative. Of course, these routines are timed. She has to fit within the time frame.
That will come with time. Round up back handspring, double back dismount. Again, a step on the landing, but she's happy to just stay on the bounce beam. I think she thought she was a little close to the beam, and I think she was right.
Let's take a look from our Pontiac blimp, the overhead shot here, to see how this double back went, Kathy.
You can really see how little room you have to work, and yes, she was very close to the end of the beam.
And we'll have her score on the balance beam when we come back here to St. Paul in the Civic Center for the final rotation of women's gymnastics. Bart Connor and Kathy Johnson back here in the 4th and final rotation in the women's all-around competition. There's our leader, Brandy Johnson. After a rough start on the balance beam, she has come on strong.
She certainly has, Bart. Really showing her toughness in competition.
Now, Brandy's had some trouble on the uneven bars in the past.
Yes, she has. This will be a good test for her because she's just now getting her confidence back here. She had a good performance at the championships on this event. Giant with a full pirouette over the top. Nice high reverse hecht. Moving very well so far. She's altered her routine in the past few meets. Took out one of the release moves, and I think it was a smart move for the time being. And a pike double back. And the reason I say that, she really needed to get her confidence back on this event. She's had a few misses in major meets. And so it's just good to see her go out there, hit a nice solid routine. She can put the difficulty back in later.
This score, by the way, for Ann Wojnarowski on the balance beam was a 9.725. This is Brandy's release move.
Look at the height on that reverse hecht. Very nicely done. Really only deductions in that routine. Very slight form breaks here and there. But for the most part, very clean. And a nice high pike double back dismount. You can see that the judges are really looking to see the somersault level with the high bar. That's the kind of height you're looking for.
Earlier, we saw Elizabeth Crandall compete on the floor exercise. She did torque her right knee, and she's being examined right now by the doctors from the U.S. Olympic Committee. She has pulled out of the meet. She will not vault for her team. Her score on Florex was an 8.5, and we wish her the best. We hope that that knee injury isn't serious.
And Brandy's score just came in, 9.825.
Looks like there's our winner in the all-around. She'll be hard to catch. Next up on the uneven bars, this is Molly Shawn, and she has really surprised a lot of people here.
Molly's a teammate of Brandy's at Brown's Gymnastics with Kevin and Rita Brown. Nice straight body work, Giant with a full turn to a nice high ginger. It's nice to see her keeping good form on these skills as well. Giant swing, another giant swing with a full pirouette and a double twisting flyaway. Really straight body line on all her moves.
Very clean routine for the 13-year-old out of Edgewood, Kentucky. Of course, as you mentioned, she trains with Kevin and Rita Brown down there in Altamont Springs at Brown's Gymnastics.
And she was in third place going into this event, so this should do her well. And look at that, keeping perfect form on a double twisting flyaway. You can really see how she squeezes those legs together, doesn't give away any tenth of a point.
So a big day for the young ladies from Brown's Gymnastics Academy down in Altamont Springs, Florida. Molly Shawn having a terrific performance. And as you mentioned at the top of the show, some of our juniors in this competition are really getting an exciting opportunity to compete against some of the best, like Brandy Johnson.
She just scored a 9.85. Big score for her. Nice competition through and through.
There's Kevin Brown with Molly. Obviously very pleased with her competition today. All of those young ladies from Altamont Springs seem to have the same look, the suntan and the blonde hair. Is that a Brandy Johnson or is that a Kathy Johnson trait? Now we're going to get an opportunity to see Stephanie Woods. She's training in Austin, Texas.
Stephanie is really nice to watch. She has long lines, beautiful long legs. Always has good form. She has excellent dance as well.
This, of course, is the fourth and final rotation in the women's all-around competition. Stephanie currently in 5th place, 15th place in the all-around.
She's actually off to a very good start after the first event, the vault. She was leading, or in the top 3. And she's dropped down with a couple falls throughout the competition.
She had a good meet earlier this year at the U.S. Challenge. She placed 2nd in the all-around to Kim Zemeskel, who is currently #1 in the United States and training for the Goodwill Games that will be in a couple of weeks. This is Stephanie Woods, 15 years old, from Austin, Texas.
All right, whip back through to a double back, very close to going out of bounds, but she managed to stay in. For her second tumbling run. Whip back through to a double twist. She's the tallest gymnast here at 5'3".
Let's talk a little bit about that. We talked about the mini mites at 4'4" and 4'5". She's almost a foot taller than some of our miniature gymnasts here. How much of a disadvantage do you feel that is?
In some cases, it's an advantage. It really looks so nice on the uneven bars. It looks great on balance beam. It makes it tough in tumbling and in skills where you really need to rotate fast, because the longer the body, the longer it takes to rotate. She manages. Double back. The end of her routine. Very nice performance.
Stephanie Woods from Capital Gymnastics in Austin, Texas. Her coach, Jim Jarrett, very pleased with that performance. He's not only the coach of the West team here, but he's also her personal coach down in Austin.
Stephanie's been on the national team for 2 years. Most of the gymnasts here, it's their first year on the national team.
Let's take a look at her first tumbling run.
She does a whip back. Right through to a double back, and look here. Whoa, she is right on the line.
If she steps out, it's a 1/10 of a point deduction.
Again, she does a whip back through to a layout somersault with a double twist. That's the other disadvantage. When you're taller, it's harder to get all the skills in the tumbling pass without going out of the area. And she ends with a double back, just pulls it around right here very nicely.
Stephanie Woods having a terrific competition here. Her score a 9.65 in that floor exercise routine. Now we're getting ready for Larissa Fontaine, the little hot shot that has impressed a few people here. She needs a 9.975 to win on this floor exercise routine and beat Brandy Johnson.
That's an awfully big score. She opens with a full twisting double back. Oh, no. She was having trouble with that in warm-ups. Just barely getting it around. Charming dance.
How hard is it to put on the smile and do a cutesy, charming routine after you know you've already given away a major deduction early?
It's certainly hard for the smile to come from within, that's for sure, Bart, but we train to be able to do that.
Is that a fake smile?
I don't know if I'd say it's a fake smile. She's 12 years old, probably loving this sport so much that it's hard to have a fake smile when you're doing something you enjoy, but... Oh, barely pulls that double back around. It's a big pass, though. Alternates through to a double back. As you can see, just like on balance beam, she really needs a lot of work on her dance, perfecting those elements. Another whip back, through to a double back. I didn't think there was any way she could make that. She had trouble throughout the whole routine, but you got to hand it to her. She has nothing to lose, really. Being a junior, she's got a lot of future ahead of her, but to be so close to Brandy Johnson and hanging in the top 3, that's unfortunate.
At 12 years old, she's really pushing high level of difficulty, and of course she had plenty of trouble here.
First pass, she did a full twisting double back. She did not get her arms up into the somersault. That's why she lacked height and rotation. And her last pass, she was really pushing hard here. A whip back through to another double back. And again, she does not get her arms all the way up into that somersault.
Whoa. That could be dangerous.
In a way, I'm glad to see her pushing the difficulty, trying to get all the double backs in, trying to get the difficulty in that she needs to be competitive, not only here, but in the future with the best in the world. But right now, she's not quite strong enough to do those.
There you have our all-around champion, as expected. A A huge favorite coming into this competition. She got off to a rough start in balance beam with a 9.4 and a scary fall, but she really got tough, Kathy, and put together 3 terrific events and rallied to win.
She certainly did, Bart. It's nice to see Brandy back, looking aggressive, looking strong, and excited to compete.
The score on floor exercise for Larissa Fontaine was an 8.6. This young lady has a bright future ahead of her. She's only 12 years old. We'll be back right after this.
Let's take a look at the final results in the women's all-around competition, which you were watching and hearing from Kathy Johnson and from Bart Connor. And Brandy Johnson is the winner of the women's all-around competition. A fine win for her. You see her aggregate score. Molly Shawan finishing for the silver medal. And Ann Wojnarowski, is that a great name to hit cold? Yeah, Ann Wojnarowski is the bronze medal winner. Brandy Johnson wins the gold.